All right. So today I want to talk about mending relationships. So it's been a little while. I've been away for a while, probably since I really want to say maybe early December. So it's only been about a month, maybe a month and a half since I've been away from YouTube. I wouldn't say that anything personally has happened, anything wrong. Just a couple other things. Sometimes relationships and stuff don't work out. It is what it is. And then on top of that, just taking some time to really think about the YouTube channel, thinking about the algorithm, thinking about how I want to help men out there, because my channel is just so dedicated to helping men all around the world. As I always tell y'all, I just want men to become better people. And I want men to become better men, become more masculine, become who they are, and just help them reach their full potential. And that's what my channel has always been about. And that's what it's always going to be about. And it's just so important that I help people to get to where it is that they want to be. I feel like through my life experiences, I can help individual people as men get to where they want to be. And there's no offense to any women or anything like that. You're more than welcome to watch these videos, but this is mostly geared towards men. All right, so let's get into it. So today I want to talk to you about mending relationships. So at the beginning of the year, I'll tell you a story. We'll start off with a story, then we'll go through the bullet points. So at the beginning of the year, what happened was I was on my Facebook, and then I got a message on my Facebook, and I was like, who is this lady sending me a message on my Facebook? And I didn't know who it was. It was just a random lady. So then she sent me a message. I read the message, and as I was reading the message, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, who is this? But one of the things she said was, your brother wants to talk to you and stuff. And I was like, okay, I haven't talked to him in a long time. Because many of y'all know I grew up as an only child, which I am an only child from both of my parents, but my dad has a son from his previous marriage. So we don't talk that often, and honestly, there's really nothing wrong with him. I think he's a great person, even still now. We're going to go into that as time goes on about men in the relationship and stuff. And the thing about it was that when she sent me the message at first, I was like, what is it that you need? And she was like, your brother just wants to talk to you. So I was like, well, what do you need, or what does he need? And she was like, he doesn't need anything. He just wants to talk to you. So then I probably say half a day went by. Then I spoke to my mom about it and stuff like that. And then she was like, hey, why don't you give him a call? And I was like, okay, I'm going to give him a call. So then I called him. I said, hey, so-and-so. I asked him what his name was, because I don't want to put his name out there like that, because he doesn't have like Facebook and all that kind of stuff. And so as we were talking, I was like, hey, this is your brother, Christopher. He's like, oh, Chris, how you doing and stuff? And I was like, I'm good. So then I said, your fiance, she sent me a message and stuff like that, telling me that she wanted to talk to me. What's going on? And he says, it's not nothing much, but, people dying every day. And, they hadn't talked to different people and stuff like that. And I said, man, you're absolutely right. And mind you, as we talk about this, we talked for probably 3 hours, close to 4 hours. So I just said hello to him. I asked him how he was doing. We talked about our dad, because we both had the same father, but he's dead and gone. So we talked about that. We talked about our kids, where I live now. We talked about my divorce. We talked about his past relationship, how his mom died, how his kids are doing, how's his fiance. It was just such an amazing experience, because it really was never any hard feelings. It was just a simple fact of like, I grew up with both parents in the house. My parents really loved me. They were always there for me. And then he grew up with his mom. And then there was a brief time where my brother, he used to live with us for a short amount of time. But the fact of the matter is that he didn't live with us all the time. It just happened one day that what happened was, you have custody battles, because you got the kid wants to go to one house, or the parent wants him to come to this house. And what happened was that day we went to court, nobody knew that my brother was going to come back and live with us. So after he came to live with us, because the judge just basically said, okay, the kid is out of control. I'm not talking about my brother, so we just going to send him to your dad's house. So we came back home and he was living with us. And throughout this time, I was in elementary school. This was like in the early 90s. Early 90s, maybe even mid 90s. And as a kid, I think one of the things, at least for me, that I can say, I just wanted the brother to be there and be loving and caring, and always be there and say, hey, Christopher, don't do this, don't do that, and just be there. And that's something I expressed to him and stuff like that. And, he told me, I think that he really wanted to do that. And honestly, he did. There was actually some times when my brother used to help me out with my homework. He used to iron my clothes. There were some bad things, like throwing trash out the window, different things like that. But overall, as a whole, he helped me out with my homework, and I told him, I remember these different things you did. I remember you did some bad things too, like we maybe got in some arguments and stuff like that. And then it also was like, hey, the fish and stuff like that, you killed my fish. But honestly, like when we talked the whole time, it was like always, it was just so positive about everything. It was like, who forget, like we just don't care about all the negative things that happen. And it's so important that you just build on that if you have a relationship that you need to mend and stuff like that. So as time goes on, we continue to keep talking, and it was just such an amazing experience because I felt like we talked for so long, and I was like, okay, we're gonna get off the phone in like 10 minutes, an hour goes by, another 10 minutes, an hour and a half goes by, another 10 minutes, and like 2 hours go by. And we just talked about so much, and I was so happy. And one of the things he told me at the end was like, we have a great relationship now, Christopher, and nobody's gonna be able to break that relationship. And I was like, I know, I agree with you 100%. And I told him it never was anything negative. I'm not mad at you. I'm not upset. There were times when I was younger and I was upset because I just wanted you to do the right thing. That's all. Because I grew up with both parents. I lived a good life, upper middle class. And then he grew up with his mom, got in trouble, got in gangs, got locked up and different stuff like that. But that never stopped us from caring about one another because blood is blood. I mean, it is what it is. And that's how I just want to lead into this. And I just want to tell you out there, if you have a relationship with somebody and maybe y'all haven't talked in a while, I just want to let you know that you should try to mend that relationship if it hasn't ended in a really, really bad terms, because you really never know. Like my brother was saying, you never really know if this person's going to die in the next hour, 2 hours, or the next day, or a week, or in a year. And you just want to make sure that these people, that you have a good relationship. You don't want to die or that person die, and then you regret it, saying, I sure wish I had listened, or I sure wish I would have worked on this relationship. And that's my first point, is that be open to a relationship, mending it, and then ask yourself this question: why is this person coming here to try to mend a relationship? And I'm not saying that you should let everybody in. That's not what I'm saying. If you've had some bad things happen and they've done certain things to you, like they've hit you or they've harassed you or doing certain things that are inappropriate, then maybe this is not the right relationship for you to mend. But for me, it wasn't really negative. It was just like, we just went our separate ways, and I was going through a lot of difficult things. He was going through a lot of difficult things. I mean, he's in his 40s now, and I'm in my almost mid-30s now. And we just both saw it as an opportunity to come back together, regroup, and really get to know each other. And this is just an important thing, and I'm hoping from here forward that we can mend this relationship and keep going, because I just felt, I just couldn't stop smiling after I talked to him, because it was such a wonderful thing. And I feel like now I have that relationship. Yeah, I'm in my 30s, but he's older, so he may have some more experience in certain things. And I get the relationship that I always wanted, just a brother that would be there for me, talk to me, lead and guide me in a certain direction, which, there's certain things that he tells me that I don't agree with, and there's certain things I tell him he agrees with, and sometimes we don't see eye to eye. But the most important thing is that, we try to fix things and keep going forward. And that's the most important thing. As long as somebody hasn't done things that really hurt you, try to fix it and try to, really just be there for one another. So point number 2, I just want to talk about, you have to ask yourself, is this relationship really worth mending? And the reason why is because you just never really know, because if people do these bad things to you, as I was saying, it may just not be a good opportunity for you to mend it. And then I also want to hit on another point, just asking yourself, watch how you treat people, because you never know, you might need these people later on in life. And that's something that our father always told us, is that, watch how you treat people, because you might need them one day. And I'll go into another brief story about that. I remember when I was working at the hospital, which I still work there now, and I had a supervisor, and he had an interview. He did the interview, and then after the interview, he talked to the lady. He was like, hey, I didn't know you applied here. And I was like, I looked at him like, why is he talking to her like he knows her or something like that? Well, come to find out, they actually went to high school together, and they used to hang out together. He didn't know that she applied for the job, but as soon as she got in the interview, he was like, wait a minute, I know her. And I think that was the first time I actually was like, wow. It was like a light bulb just went off in my head, because I remember my dad saying, watch how you treat people because you never know, you might need them. And that was the first experience. This was probably maybe less than 10 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, that I saw this happen firsthand. And I was like, wow, like this is, it's real. Like that really does happen. And from there, I really always try to make sure that I always treat people correctly. I always try to speak highly of them, and I always try to say good things, because you never know, you really might need those people one day. At a job interview, you might be dying and sick and you need this person, or you might need some money or something and you might need their help. So it's always important that you have good relationships and stuff like that, because if you don't, you just never know what could happen. So it's always important that you're working on these certain things. Then I also want to touch on another point, which is look at men in the relationship in a positive light, to look at it and say, you know what, how can this relationship benefit me in a positive way? Maybe this person can be there and y'all can grow together, y'all can start a business together. Maybe you can help one another as far as kids and different ideas. Maybe you can help one another get a job. And that's something I just want to kind of talk about in this YouTube video, is that mend your relationships around you, because you never know if you're going to need this person, or if this person, they might be there for you or they may not. But try to make sure that you work it out to the best of your ability and just be there for one another, because I think that's the most important thing, is that you want to be loving and caring for one another, so that we can all just kind of get together as harmony and stuff like that. So if you are watching this video, I just want to take this moment and say, you know, hey, if you're going through something, or you had an argument or a disagreement or something, just try to fix that relationship. Maybe you need to apologize and stuff like that. And just let that person know you apologize. If they don't apologize, that's okay. You did your job. I'll give you another rundown too. There was the other day when I apologized to my son, because I had told him something about, hey, if you ever get married, marry somebody where their parents are married too, because it'll give you like the best outcome. And then I come to find out that may not be true. So I apologized to him and I said, you know, I may have been wrong on that, so try to make sure that you find a woman that's like a godly woman. So try to make sure that, you know, these are just different things that you can look at if you're trying to get married once you get older. Keep in mind, my son is 9, but I just give him different ideas, and then I let him learn on his own. So always look at your relationships. And I remember when I first apologized to my son, this was probably a couple years ago. I don't even remember what it was. I think maybe I didn't take him to a soccer game or something like that. And I just remember that it took so much out of me to apologize, but I knew I was growing as an individual because I had enough courage to say I'm sorry. And just get out there, and that's all I want to say is just apologize to the person and fix your relationship. So I just want to wrap it up with that and just let y'all know, hey, I care about you men. I just want you men to become better people, be better fathers, be better husbands, and just be better. You could be a better stepdad, just a better person. And that's all I want to tell y'all. And just to wrap it up, and hey, remember, you just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this video, tell your friends about it, and I'll see y'all next time. Thanks.